know that if you look at the globe, you'll see that the Earth is covered mostly by the oceans. And we look at the oceans, we look at the surface, the waves, but it's basically a flat surface. Sometimes we forget that there's all these contours underneath. Where the continents are, there's a continental shelf, and then it goes miles and miles into a deep, deep bottom of the ocean with mountain ranges and deep trenches that cut through it, and all kinds of geological features that we can't see from up here. And what interests me the most are that there are animals that occupy the surface, a little bit below the surface, and then there are even creatures that are specially adapted to live in the very deep depths of the ocean, where the pressures of the ocean push down on them, and they live in a lightless world. There is no light down there. One of my favorites is the Viperfish, and that's what I'd like to draw for you. And that's why I've entitled this video, this How to Draw session, Creature of the Deep. So here's my Viperfish. Now, usually when you draw, you have a white pad of paper and a dark pencil. I'm going to switch everything around because the realm of this fish is in the deep depths. It's all black down there, so I have a black paper and a white chalk pencil. I could use a big piece of chalk too, but this little point gives me a little bit more of ability to make some of the details that I'd like to show on my Viperfish. So you might want to try this yourself with black paper and some chalk. Now the way I'm going to start is I'm going to make a pizza pie shape. And I'm going to go over this several times so that the camera can pick it up, but you can draw your pizza pie shape. And I've made this on the top part of my paper here. And the next shape I'm going to make is almost like a half moon shape, a big curve, a downward curve. It starts fat here and then tapers to the end, but it doesn't touch yet because that's where his tail is going to be. And I'm just going to make this a little bit thicker of a line so that you can see his beautiful, graceful shape. Now down here you can draw a triangle. I'm going to start with a light triangle because I'm just using this to show the basic shape of his tail. So here's my triangle, and then right here I'm going to make a smaller triangle, and this will show his tail. So this little line here is not important anymore. A little bit rub it out to make it seem less of a strong line, and there's his tail. Now in the ocean that will be very flexible, and it'll be fairly see-through. So we'll just draw a few little light lines and before starting on his head. Now this is going to surprise you because right here is his jaw. And what makes this fish extraordinary is his huge head and jaw that he will grab his prey with. And he's very well adapted to grab his prey, which will be small fish, because he has some very sharp, curved, very long teeth that line his upper jaw and his lower jaw. Now aren't those fun to draw? Making those little teeth, and they're very irregular. Some are bigger and some are smaller. And then the inside of his mouth there, you can see the bottom of his mouth, and I'll just sketch that in lightly. And we've got to give him a little personality here. Here's his eye, a great big eye, and he will not be seeing too much light down there, at least not from the surface of the ocean. He's too far down below, but he will pick up the bioluminescence of other fish. Many of the creatures of the deep have their own little lighting system in their bodies. It's not, but it does emit light. Usually it's a light blue light, and sometimes it's kind of pinkish red, and sometimes it's yellow, but by far the most common is the light, kind of a light blue, almost like if you're looking up at the stars and you're looking at that pale blue light of some of the stars. Now these lines, I'm trying to make him look like he's around, and these are going to help me know where to put his scales, because he's a fish, And I'll be putting his scales in next, and then his fins. So he's got about 3 sets of these big scales going down his body. And if you study the oceans, you'll know that there's a phenomenon. It's called plankton, and they're very small plants and animals, sometimes just a few cells. They're often microscopic, and they will be hundreds and thousands of these different kinds of plankton. They can be the larvae of different fish, or they can be little tiny jellyfish or little tiny plants called diatoms. And there will be little shrimp and other creatures that will eat them, and then little fish will eat those fish, and then you get to a bigger fish like the viperfish, who's 12 inches long. So this is larger than he would really be in real life. And very few people have ever seen this fish because it's so far in the depths. As a matter of fact, all of these fish that are being discovered now, this is taking place because of technology. We weren't able to go so far down underneath the Earth's surface and see the bottom of the ocean until very recently. Scientists have developed submersibles who are able to go down and take pictures of these fish, and sometimes they can bring them to the surface. You don't see very many pictures of these fish because when the camera takes a flash picture, it blinds the fish. You can never see again, so they don't like to do that. Now he has a little thin dorsal fin. I'm making a little space there that comes down like this, and this will be see-through, and it's a little bit longer, I think, right here in his midsection, and he'll use this to help him turn. And then right here there's another little piece that comes out, and then right here is his dorsal fin. This is pretty exciting because on his dorsal fin there's a modified ray that comes up. It's very long and flexible, and it hangs down in front of this fish, and it acts like bait. Other fish, this is lit up with that bioluminescence, so it's like a little light, a little beacon, and other fish will see this, be attracted to it, and think it's something to eat, and look where it is. It's right in front of his mouth. So the little fish will come along, take a bite, and then this fish with this huge jaw and huge head will open up his mouth even further and turn his head up and clamp his jaw shut, and then the fish will go down into his stomach. And all along his body there are little lights that are part of his bioluminescence. And when it gets dark, I'm going to show you how these work so that you can get a picture of what this fish would really look like. I'm going to make holes in these and flash a flashlight underneath. So there he is in the deep depths of the ocean, getting ready for a meal, the viperfish, 12 inches long, and maybe, just maybe, we are sailing over one right now. And this bioluminescence is such an interesting phenomenon. I thought I would do something that you might find fun to do at home, which is I'm going to loosen this picture, and I'm going to poke some holes where this fish would have its little dots of bright light. And I'm just using a pencil, and I'm going to go all the way down I'm not going to use anything sharper because I know some of you, a pencil is probably the sharpest thing that you should have with your hands for safety's sake. And down we go, all the way down. It's ventral side, which is this side that his stomach is on. This is very therapeutic to punch this paper in. Now you could use a hole punch because how would you get way in there? And then he's got actually 2 rows of these. So be patient with me. I'll try to think of something else I can tell you about the deep ocean, which is I have a lot of respect for people who go down in the little mini submersibles that go way down under this tremendous pressure of the ocean above them to study these animals. Because the rewards, of course, are that there's only maybe a few people in the whole world who have seen these in real life. They will see them on camera, and they will see them in photographs, but very few people see them in real life because it's so deep, these oceans. Now, I think that will do it. I think we have some nice holes there, and what I'm doing is getting darker out as we had hoped. And I take my flashlight, and this is the kind of way it would look if you were underwater and you saw this fish swimming along. Isn't that cool? Oh, the most important thing, his little modified piece of fin where he's got his bait. This is probably the most important thing because this guy's got to eat, right? So I'll put the pencil all the way through so it's a little bit of a bigger hole. And now you can see where he's attracting a fish to come in. Maybe you're a little fish swimming in the ocean and you see that little piece of light and you think, oh, maybe it's like a little jellyfish or something small, a nice little bite to eat. But really you're just inches away from the jaws of the voracious Viperfish. And there's his bioluminescence all the way down his ventral side. Beautiful. So have fun drawing your white on dark and even maybe putting a few holes in it and shining a light through and have a different kind, very unique picture that you've never made before. So, looking for food.